Thank you. Do you want to start? Should I start?
Yes. Thank you, Ryan, for inviting us to this talk. I'm very honored. You've been connecting us to very nice people and very nice realities. We are a very young project, an agricultural entrepreneurial adventure that started 2021. And it sets its roots in a university of Slow Food, founded by Slow Food in 2004. Me, Valentin, and Gianluca, one of the three of the five co-founder of the project, met there. That we were studying there a course around food, which is a university that really tries to address food in an interdisciplinary way. It has many courses. It has the bachelor course. It has the master, a lot of different masters. And yeah, there we absolutely unfolded our passion around the topic, the very, very complex topic of food, which is not only the gastronomical part, but also the way it's produced. And there it's really where we got passionate about real gastronomy, in the sense of a gastronomy that takes into account landscape management, animals husbandry, vegetable growing, viticulture, perennial agroforestry, and we went deeper and deeper into these aspects after the graduation, each of us in different ways. We went so in different directions. I was working in two different wineries in Piedmont, working in the fields and in the cellar. Gianluca also worked in a quite renowned natural wine farm in Piccoli Piacentini called La Stoppa. Valentin will say what he did, but yeah, he's also very eclectic. He was running a hut in the mountain, and then he started an interdisciplinary master in Zurich, and which is just finished. Yeah, in the meanwhile, we all kept in contact. We were just good friends, and we had a WhatsApp group which was called Wine and Not, and that's where we were sending us very naively property for sales, vineyard for rent, and we were just, dreaming about a possibility of building something up together that connected gastronomy and agriculture. But yeah, at some point, this kind of naive dream started to be more of from a dream to an idea, thanks to Valentin's father, which knew about us, and this WhatsApp group and this friendship and these intentions that we had, and saw this place for sale, this Valleponci, this place which Ryan visited, and it's a very special place, and from the very beginning you feel completely somewhere else, and it has really a strong magic. So yeah, he saw that this place was for sale. He called us in. We came, we visited, and yeah, we were absolutely yeah, having a stroke almost. Like we were really, really amazed by the beauty of the place, the
And the potential, yeah.
the potential of the developments, the agricultural developments, the way you can integrate farming practices in an educational way with our guests, because it's also a hotel. We also have 7 rooms and a restaurant. So the potential of displaying all these practices and all these ways of interacting with the products and with the landscape in general, it just blew our mind. And
First time we actually came because we thought it's a joke, like it's a hoax kind of advertisement, to maybe to give you a bit of context. This was 4 or 5 years ago. the prompt or the affiche of this place was 50 hectares of land, 3 kilometers from the Mediterranean coastline, in a very pristine kind of forest area, right behind a very much used and also touristically used coastline, where in summer there's a lot of people from all over the place. It's very well connected because Milan, Turin, Genova, and then the French Riviera, like the Côte d'Azur, Nizza, Monte Carlo, and Switzerland are very, very close somehow.
Mhm.
So 50 hectares of land, a small part of it agriculturally usable land. There was already an existing 2 hectares of vineyard in a very bad shape, but still a vineyard. Around 2 hectares, 3 hectares of potential farmable land.
Mhm.
The rest forest, beautiful ecosystem around us, very dense, very hard to manage sometimes also, but
Mhm.
very beautiful at the same time.
Mhm.
Then a house, a big house with a restaurant that is already kind of was already kind of existing, needed a lot of care and attention, and rooms. And we thought, okay, this is just a joke or just an old advertisement. So we came here to kind of bury it, the idea to be like, okay, then at least we went there to see. But then it turned out that it's actually true and it's actually for sale, and yeah, that's where it started somehow.
Mhm.
The adventure.
Yeah, and from then on, from the very beginning, we knew that I mean it was we thought it was a joke, but it was still quite some money, and especially not even the money to purchase it, but also imagining it's an old farmhouse. It's an from the early 20th century. And I mean, it came in different times, but it used to be a very complex polyfunctional farm with cows,
Vineyard.
with a communal bread oven, vineyard, the cellar, the house of the farmers, and the barn and everything, up until the 70s. Then, due to many different factors, green revolution in general, like standardization, massification, agro-industrialization, and massification of tourism on the coast, and the lacking of water, which was also a topic, it got this place abandoned for 30 years. And yeah, and that's where the old owners, the guys where we bought from, intervened. They were three locals from Savona, from the area more or less, that in their late 20s moved to Milan and worked in the fashion kind of
Mm.
industry for about 10, 15 years. And when they're around their 40s, they were tired of the life in Milan and decided to go back to their hometown and to buy this place. And it's interesting. I really have deep admiration and respect towards what they've done, because it really they set up this agritourism. When they bought, this place was really, really abandoned. And But it's also interesting and it's also very teaching as an experience, their story,
Mm-hmm.
for also what to do and what not to do for
Mm-hmm.
me. And it was clear for us that we should approach ownership and access of capital in a different way, because we saw with them and with so many other realities in farms in Italy, but in general, this approach of being three people have to manage a whole farm with the restaurant, with rooms, with 50 hectares, with the vineyard. It took them 12 years to start the agriturismo. So they bought in early 2000 and they opened in 2012. And after 3 years, 4 years of opening, they already put it on the market for sale. And it stayed on the market for 10 years almost, until we arrived in 24 when we bought.
Yeah, which shows that already after a few years being on their own, somehow they were basically burned out, and they were done already
They
with the
had
hustle of
they had massive financial
yeah.
pressure. You can imagine when you're just three, you have such a big property, you didn't inherit anything, you have to start from scratch.
Hmm.
In Italy, we have this bureaucracy monster, which really slows down a lot of PME, like small, medium enterprises. Like it's really it's the nightmare of the small, medium enterprises. And yeah, they arrived at the opening. They were already having issues with each other. That psychologically they were almost already done.
Hmm.
And we looked at them and like, wow, I mean, they were cool. They were
Hmm.
cool. They were quite punk and bold, and they had an interesting style, very radical. But also we saw that they really it was too much pressure. They
Hmm.
they they were not able to spread the risk. It was a lot of effort, a lot of weight on their shoulder. And so we sat down and we're like, okay, we have to put our hands on this place, and we want to buy it. And we had millions of ideas on which directions to go. We tried to collect them into a kind of a plan or a vision.
And one important, I think, aspect of it is that no one of us brought money to the table, really. Like we didn't really have money available just like that. Like, which at the beginning, sounds like a limiting factor. In the end, for us, it turned into an important kind of virtue that pushed the project through kind of a special financial model.
Yeah.
Towards what it is now, which is this community. So we realized, okay, we don't have the money, and at the same time, we were also like, maybe there is an interesting kind of take on communal funding strategies.
Can I
Yeah,
ask guys how, like, emotionally, how that process was? Like, how long did it take you to go from we have no money to maybe there's an opportunity here to do something differently?
differently. I
Ah,
mean, the whole funding process took us 4 years.
sure.
This whole process, in terms of time,
Which is nothing.
which is not a lot, maybe.
No, it's not. When I told to people, and I thought it was a lot.
Yeah,
I was personally thinking it was a
yeah,
lot. Then I talked to other farmers, and they're like, "Man, this is nothing. You collected all the capital in 4 years. This is
yeah,
like lightning fast
yeah. So,
somehow."
so yeah, we were at the same time we were kind of setting it up. We gave the people here because we said, look, we don't have the money now, but we give you some kind of insurance or certainty through our presence. So mostly Pete, also me for half a year, John as well, were coming here and giving them a hand, like helping them in their operation. So it was still them running it. We gave them a hand in the vineyards already.
Yeah.
We were working in the kitchen and in the hospitality department of the old ownership, while we were planning the takeover and the financing. So
There were many stages.
yeah,
It was
emotionally, like to answer your question, yeah, there were a lot of
so many
different
stages,
stages.
and everyone has different kind of a relationship with these stages,
Yeah,
because each of us had a different path somehow.
yeah,
But I would say that in 2020, in the end of
mhm,
2022, towards transitioning from 22 to 23, that was the moment when we realized we can do it. And that's
yeah,
when John, Balu, and me, all the three of us,
quit
somehow
our
left
jobs.
their jobs, their previous jobs, and went on this transition phase with the old owners. We didn't have yet all the money that we needed, but it felt like we had most of it, and it was going well. And
Hmm.
we had a moment, I think in 2022 or end of 21, 2022, where we were a bit stuck. We were doing hand brochure, and I don't know, it was not really going forward at some point. Then in the summer of 22, it unlocked a few investors that gave a lot of money, Also thanks to the transition. We were helping the old owners. They were, you can imagine someone that is emotionally attached to a place very much, but also is desperate to sell. It's and on the other hand, we nowadays we have 70, almost 70 investors. You can imagine how what emotionally did to them to have 70 people coming and checking their houses. You know, they were all like, no, like talk to my agent. I don't want to show you shit. And but the fact that we were there definitely softened up all these dynamics, which sounds not so relevant, but it was actually one of the most
Mhm.
important thing for them to understand who we were, what our project was, which direction we wanted to go, and then so, consequently also all the people that came, being a
Mhm.
bit more open, showing them the space, and this was the most powerful tool in convincing people to trust our project, was to bring them here, showing them the place, pointing at the areas that, this is going to become our future garden. We are going to replant the vineyard here. This pond will become an incredible event space, and there will be when people can see all this vision and all this in the place where it's supposed to happen, that definitely has a much bigger effect.
And then another very important thing that we are still working on somehow or processing is this notion of ownership, because we can speak very openly, like we needed to find 1.5 million. We ended up finding it, and actually more, um, by involving friends, people that believe in small scale farming, and the importance of bringing young people, making it possible that young people have access to land that they can work on, etc., etc. This discourse. So um, we just talk to these people, and convince them somehow to become stakeholders in a company that you will probably never really see any return on investment in a financial sense. Maybe yes at some point, but this
Still,
was never kind of the sales point. It was much more about activating a space, activating a project, being part of something that grows, and having the access or the possibility to witness these things, and to be part, and to feel ownership over something. But also internally, this was a journey, I would say, for us. We all grew up or live, including like everyone here, probably in a world that is based on very clear paradigms of what entrepreneurial journeys mean, and what ownership means, how businesses are built. You take a huge risk yourself, you invest money, you ask a bank, you take a loan, you make debts. But then you have your own company. You have freedom to shape this, and you have the potential eventually to resell it at another price or whatever. These are kind of the archetypical ideas of what ownership in a business sense means. Here, in our case, we were faced with the fact that we are actually not at all, majority owners of this place on the paper. So we had to kind of set up a way in which we can secure kind of our freedom to shape this, or like to make sure that the holding, let's say, that bought eventually the place, really is kind of restricted to
governance.
yeah, to his goal of enabling this place to
Yeah.
start to happen. And then there is the people and the group that is us, plus at the moment, we grew to be 14, 15 people in the high season that work here, our employers, our partners here. that have the complete freedom to run this place in good faith, of course, with the idea and the mission that we set up at the beginning. And this was quite a journey, to also understand then the benefits of it. You're not anymore in this idea of being
Private ownership.
like juristical ownership of this place, but you realize the all the other benefits that come with it, because running or starting a farm, and the restaurant and the hotel at the same time, you can imagine it's so intense, and it's for years it was 7 days a week, 14 hours a day of going, of movement. And if I imagine that we would have had to do this also with the psychological pressure somehow of having all the financial risk on our shoulders, having taken a huge loan or, debt towards a bank or something. Yeah, this definitely
We would have ended
psychological.
up like the old owners,
We would
most
have ended up
likely.
like the old owners, exactly, probably.
It's
So this was a great decision. And the other beautiful effect that this had, this was planned from the beginning, and it was a bet if it works or not, but it worked out very well. That when you involve other people, when you kind of co-own or go towards a commons kind of understanding of also owning and setting up a business like this, you create automatically a network of people that also bring ideas, bring competences in, and have a deep interest of shaping this place. And we see that a lot. Like we have many weeks in the winter in which we work on building projects, on maintenance projects, in which all these people that are just fans and believers and owners of the project come here and help and work and find also agency and belonging to this place and the soil and whatever we do here.
Yeah,
We've got a question here from one of
Yes.
the
Sorry. Is this a question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Liz, you can come off mute if you want.
Yeah, I think my question is also related to what Sharon put in the chat. I'm curious, like what
Chat.
so the question in the chat was, I'd love to know the details of how you structured the deal. And I think my question is connected, and it's what was the profile of these investors? Were they local? Were they traditional investors? Were they thinking they would see money? Were they like already in the space and just hopeful about the project? And they were more like, we're going to be supportive whether or not we see anything. So I think those questions probably are connected.
So no, they're not at all traditional investors in the sense of that they invest with the idea of getting a return on investment in a financial sense. They are friends of friends. They are people in our surroundings. We are already kind of a big group. We set it up in five, and we kind of like called all our friends around us. And the majority, and this maybe also gives an idea to that, the majority of these people, they invested around $10,000 or 10,000 euros, 12,000 euros. So it's not the majority of them. I'm Swiss. It's easier to raise money in Switzerland. That's just a fact compared to Italy. So a lot of our friends and co-owners are Swiss people. Yeah.
I mean,
it's a lot of money. It's beautiful, but 10,000 euros for the average Swiss person is also not like taking a huge risk,
Also,
somehow.
it's different. Italian investors compared to Swiss investor. The target of our investors is most likely from the Italian side are most likely people that already have somehow a connection to Liguria by having directly a second house there or having a lot of friends with second house there. This is a classic setup for people from Milano, Torino that they go often to Liguria. So it would have been harder in a way that there is a bit, the currency power and it's less, but also we played a lot on the fascination of the Mediterranean. Our investors are all between 50 to 70, I would say, 40 to 70, something like this. We need towards retirement or right after, and there are people that really just want to give back something after a career in many different fields. And they are not philanthropists because they didn't donate money, they didn't gift money. But it's what I think also in economical terms are called impact investors. We ensured a minimum amount of return on their investment, which is quite ridiculous. It's 1% of dividends, so they can return 1% of what they invested if there is any profit in the year, which is also something that is going to take a while probably.
And where does the other money goes just back into the enterprise or?
Yeah. I mean, as long as all the rest of the money goes back in the enterprise in investment, and I mean, there is also a share that us co-founder have, but this is a topic for the future somehow. And honestly, so far, we're not planning for this year to go in the positive sides. This is a startup process, so it's quite normal. But yeah, like the idea is that people basically have invested somehow. Also, it's a real estate investment because the security of the money it's in the bricks somehow in the building, which has quite a value somehow in this region. And then it's a lot about envisioning and embracing this vision together. And as Balu was saying, I would say, they invested partly, I would say, yeah, a good part as ownership. So they have shares, they are co-owners of the project, of the company. They have rights of dividend, they have a place in the assembly, so forth and so on, just like any other co-owners of a company. And then another part of it, 30% or something, it's an investment. It's that doesn't give back any shares. It's basically vouchers, so goods and services that the people paid for the next 10 years. So basically, they paid their holidays to us in anticipation for the next 10 years.
So everybody that is an investor has a right to
I
stay
mean,
for.
a good part of them, yes. We gave the possibility of choosing two options to all the investors. The use and participation, which is more or less out of 12,500 francs, 6,000 francs as shares, 4,000 francs as vouchers, and 2,500 as donation, which is also important. All the investors also gave
Part as a donation.
15%, something like this, as a donation. So this allowed us to, somehow have more capital in and give out less shares to, yeah, somehow trying out different ways of accessing capital and involving people. It's kind of I like the comparison with the CSA, like community supported agriculture, but from a real estate and entrepreneurial point of view, business perspective, which worked really well. And by the way, we are still looking for partners. anybody is interested. From the US, I think it's not so easy, but yeah, definitely we are going on with the fundraising. A place with 700, almost 800 square meters of old farmhouses and a whole 50 hectares of land. The amount of money that you can spend, it's limitless, basically.
Can I
So
ask how did you guys come up with this structure? Did you have people advising you? Is this a structure that's been done before, or was there like lawyers who helped figure this out?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of support. We came up with this idea. I don't think on the basis of something that really exists in that format. Maybe yes.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, definitely in Italy, as far as I know, not.
Yeah.
It's definitely co-ownership. It's Genossenschaft. All these kind of more community-funded projects are much more common in Switzerland and in Germany in general. So that's why also raising the money in Switzerland. It's not only a money factor, but it's also a bit of
Conceptual.
mentality approach.
Yeah.
People are more used to share things. They are more private in their public life, but in their private life they tend to be more open, and this kind of projects are more common. And so, yeah, I would say there's
We kind of the process, like we kind of set this up kind of according to what we think would be nice. So, raising money, involving people, but at the same time ensuring that um, the management, us here, the people running, not only bound to us, because we always try to set up the company so that that's a classic risk in farming and in restaurants and in whatever other company, that you build a company around certain people that set it up, which is always, I think, a mistake, because you should set it up in a way that it doesn't really matter who runs the place, but the structure is strong enough that we could, I don't know, some of us could leave or get injured or whatever, or have a family and has to move away or whatever. Um, so the foundational idea needs to be ensured. The freedom of shaping and running this place needs to be somehow safeguarded from also, the big the assembly, or like the group that co-owns the place. And it was an interesting revelation to us that jurisdically it was set up now the English translation to this, but
limited liability company, SRL,
yeah. So the holding company is
is Aktiengesellschaft, is a
stock company,
stock company.
but
Sì,
is
sì,
it
action, stock.
Yeah. It's a stock company, and we realized, at the beginning we were like, this is like super classic, rigid kind of setup, but then and super non kind of progressive as a juridical entity. But then we realized that actually, less kind of rigid structures have also the problem that when you run into problems, or you run into kind of uncertainties and group dynamics, that they are weaker, much weaker. And we realized that a stock company, you can actually shape it very well. You can set up a stock company that is also not completely bound to the interest of raising money for the shareholders or something like that. So you can actually quite freely shape it, how it works, and what the reason and the goal of this group of people, or this stock company is. And then the company that runs it is is a farm, an Italian farm, a very classic concept, which is a
Limited liability company,
yeah,
agricola.
yeah,
Sector.
yeah, exactly. Which has the pretty much the total freedom to run it, and also to, for example, reinvest if we make a plus, we can pretty freely decide to reinvest it into the company.
But this to add to this, I will say also where this this company, this model also, and in general us, we benefit a lot from this multi-generationality. So a lot of it came from Matu, which already had a company before, and it was involved in association and other forms of jurisdictional form of companies in different projects, and suggested and proposed a structure
Format.
like this. So we knew from the beginning that we didn't have the money. This was the first point. We knew that we had to convince a lot of people to give us money, and we had a very, very broad idea on how to shape this. And slowly, as the project developed more and more, we entered into more details in the way we wanted to set up the company, the Swiss company and the Italian company, the role that me, Gianluca, and Valentin will have in it, and then we spent basically 3 years talking about the legal structure. And
with also to answer the question, with the help of professionals, we had lawyers and
Italian and Swiss.
Italian and Swiss, many actually, because in Italy also, and yes, it's complex. So we definitely had professional support.
Yeah, but it was important to say, like, we don't have the majority of the shares, but we do have the majority of the votes. So our shares as co-founders, we found a way to make them more valuable than regular investors. So our shares are 10 times has 10 times voting power compared to the rest of the investors. So we always have more than half of the assembly.
Yeah,
So that's
the safeguarding of the management somehow.
Of us 5 co-founders, which is 3 of us, me, Gian, and Valentin. Gian is our third partner from Genova, and then Matthias, the fathers of Valu, and Sabine, another good friend of us. And somehow we are the 3 operationally involved, and Matu and Sabine are
mentors
connected,
outside.
mentors, and also focusing a lot more on for the fundraising part. And me, Gian, and Valu are kind of the cherry on the cakes when it comes to convincing people to invest. We go often, I mean, a few times a year to different events, to sales pitch, etc., to reinforce and to reinforce the message, and to be a bit more effective on convincing people to become partners.
There's another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's me again. Hi. One of my questions is about the sustainability of the model. So I imagine there's the economic sustainability, but you also talked about the fact that the prior owners burned out because it was just too much on them. And you talked about how the shared model helped with at least the burnout piece of it. But would you say that you all feel you have gotten to a place where you view the project as being sustainable, both from like how you all are managing it and able to find some degree of balance in addition to the economics of it?
See, absolutely. I mean, there are pros and cons like everything, it's never only sweet life, but somehow so far all of us have experienced massive benefits in sharing the company ownership, and having the possibility to be an owner and a manager, and having the agency of shaping the direction of where this project can go. But having all this support, all this financial support in the back that secure somehow all these small projects that we run within the projects that in the initial phase would be would have been only possible through a bank mortgage, which would mean a lot of stress, because you pay a lot more because of the interest rates, and it's all money that you somehow have to give back. And now with this model, of course we have to. It's not that we spend money regardless of of what needs to be done, but it definitely um, it gives you a much more freedom into shaping also in which directions you want to go. Also because um, we all come from urban settings, which is also another interesting point. We didn't inherit this. We don't have rural backgrounds. So having this model in the back and this kind of different mindset compared to our neighbors or other farms in the area gives us really like a white page where we can shape a kind of new way of interacting with the landscape, interacting within us, creating a community around this place, and eventually inspire other people from cities that wants to move back to the rural area, what we call this neo-ruralist movement, which is shy but definitely has to grow.
And so, honestly, the sustainability analysis is quite hard to do because we are running it since not even 2 years now. So this is we are in the kind of end of the second season. So we are definitely getting better, or life is getting better, but in the sense when like stress levels and intensity, which
Fun.
yeah, exactly, which feeds into this larger idea of sustainability that goes beyond financial statistics, which is an important topic, definitely, and it's something that is talked about a lot, I would say, within
Absolutely.
us as managers, but also within the broader team. We face these challenges often. We work in two sectors that are well known for not being the most profitable and not being the most gentle on the people that work in it. Like gastronomy, means hard work and long hours and shit pays. Farming, even worse. There has always been this core goal of this project also that says we want to challenge somehow the status quo of the precarity of these fields of work somehow. So yeah, these are topics that are always there. We are not at all in a place where I would say that we are sustainable in these categories. Like we are,
Economically, we are streamlining towards it. We are trying to go into.
but also outside of economically, like there's still, I would say, more input than output. Also, like energetically, emotionally, from we're also still figuring out what it means to live together on the countryside. The core team works here. I mean, that's another important factor of living and working in the countryside and in a farm. We work here together day in and day out, and we also live together under the same roof. We share, outside of having business meetings, we also have
live together.
flatmate meetings, and
It's a social experiment.
yeah, a bit sometimes. So there's definitely
not a bit, all
no,
the time.
all the time. There's definitely we are aware of it and we are working on it, and it's not easy.
That's a good part of it. I think the replicability of a project like this requires also that you don't need to be a 15 years old experienced manager to do this. We are not. We have been running small projects, Little Hut, and a restaurant and worked in farms and stuff like this and had this passion, but you know, we are learning as we go. And even though we were talking with yesterday with our with our team, and we somehow have a structure. It's absolutely improvable, and it will be much more efficient, and it will go in a
Sustainable
more
in that sense.
sustainable, etc. But we already have a structure somehow, a self-made structure that is adapted to our needs, and as our needs and our projects will develop in different direction, the structure will evolve and improve. But I also like the fact that we were that you can do this without like a bachelor or a master degree, you know, of a huge theoretical background. That some things that you grow with it, that you adapt to your context, because in the end, like farming, you can study whatever you want, but then it has to work in your field, and you have to try, test and error, and then you replicate what works and you eliminate what doesn't. It's very simple in the end. It takes time and consistency and commitment and care and love and passion, but all these things we have. So
And it takes the freedom to be able to do it, which was granted by this group of people, you know, that's the difference probably that we have to other projects. We had the possibility to take the time, and we also still have the possibility sometimes to say, okay, this is now very important. We need to invest in the development of X, Y, and Z. That's why we need a bit more money now from the share or whatever, you know, we have this freedom somehow.
That seems like a huge takeaway, is not an easy thing to do by any means, but sort of separating the financial risk from the people that are putting so much of their time. And I mean, spending time with you all, like you're early on, but there's an incredible amount of passion and excitement from your team. It's very clear that people are working hard, but also really satisfied. I'm curious, as time goes on, how you'll be able to keep that going and what that looks like. But it seems to me like that would not be possible if you were bearing the financial risk entirely. And so,
Sometimes it feels
yeah,
like it.
yeah, we just have, I mean, just one more minute. I don't know if you have a couple extra minutes to stay on. There's one question in the chat from Mahima.
I have to soon leave because I have to actually make dinner for our hotel guests.
Right on. Cool.
I'm here, no worries.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can take this one last question then for Pietro,
We can
and
for sure make up for the delay.
For the delay, yes.
yeah. But Valentin, thank you so much. If you need to hop.
Thank you very much. It was a
Okay.
pleasure. Whenever someone is in Italy, come by.
Yeah, I can recommend it. And actually, I wanted to share, I'm going to share my screen just showing a map where you all are while Pietro takes this last question. So, question from Mahima is,
Thank you very much.
later, man.
Cheers. Ciao, ciao.
She said, in terms of bookkeeping, what helps you stay organized, reflect, and iterate on the model, given that there are so many moving pieces?
That's a really good question. Bookkeeping, Laura. So we have two companies. There is this stock. Stock company is something that exists is as an jurisdictional. So we have a stock company in Switzerland, which is the recipient of all the investments of all the shareholders, and then there is the Italian SRL. As it's renowned in Italy, the accountability is very, very complex. And there has to be, of course, a match between the two companies. So whatever comes in, it has to be backed up by, there has to be they have to reflect each other, the two companies. It's a holding structure. So the stock company in Switzerland holds 80% of the company in Italy. And then the rest of the 20%, it's Mainz and Gianluca, the two Italian investors, for a symbolic and kind of strategic reason for accessing funds and having at least 20% of Italian ownership. And then The accountability in the AGE is very simple. It's not a business, so there's only basically money that goes to the SRL. What's much more complex and we are learning as we go is the Italian accountability, which is complex also because of the nature of what we are, which is an agriturismo, which is a form of is a farm. Jurisdictionally, it's recognized as a farm. So, for example, all our employees are farmers, are under farming contracts, even who works in the kitchen, and it's a farm which has receptivity activity, other secondary activities connected to restaurants and hotel, but is extremely connected to how like there are so many norms that binds how many people you can have in the restaurant according to how much agriculture you do. Same thing goes for how many beds you can sell, how many nights of your rooms you can sell. So this all goes in the big work of bookkeeping. This is a big topic that we would like to develop more in this next few months of the off season, to becoming more and more aware of what's happening on a weekly basis, all the incomes and all the outputs and where do they go. What also a lot of outputs in these last 2 years were investments or like capitalizable in costs, but not running costs. That for example this year we took from the operativity, and so it's a bit, you know it's at the moment every 3 months, whenever we deliver all the information to our accountant in the right way, every 3 months we have a figure of how the economic situation is. But yeah, definitely we would like to be much more on top of it and understand, where the money goes and how to distinguish investments from operativity, and having more the operational situation quite clear in mind. I don't know if I answered the question.
She nodded yes.
Good. Amazing.
Well, Pietro, thank you so much for joining us. It's really it's super inspiring to hear about the project, and I hope some people can come see it, because hearing about it is one thing, but being on the land is pretty amazing, and it really resonates that like the way that you were able to get people excited is to actually, one, spend time with the people that were selling you the land, but then also bringing people onto the land. It's definitely, I think that's a big part of the reason Climate Farm School exists, is that we believe that you can't really do any of this work until you actually connect to the land and feel the changes that are happening. So, yeah, I really appreciate that and hope that some people from Climate Farm School can make it out to Valleponci.
I would love to. I would love to. We have a lot of future projects, a lot of events and collaboration with university. So this is kind of a place where ideas are shaped into concrete things and realities very quickly. At least in this moment, it's really a place where the tangible things are happening, and it's extremely satisfying experiencing it and seeing the development happening. Really, really, it's a blessing. Thank you
And
for joining.
yeah, last thing that I think is a good way for you to close out is, somebody asked, what's the best way to follow along and stay updated with your events and projects?
So we have our website, in which we always add. There is an event page. We organize retreats as well. There is in the room section, where you book a room. There's also, together with it, there is a retreat part. For example, where you can. We are doing one in November regarding olive harvest and olive oil making. We have an olive orchard as well. So this year we will make our own oil, and we invite people on board to have this kind of experiential holidays. Or Instagram, definitely. Instagram is also where we post all our activities. So I would say these two channels. And if you want to be more involved in the more kind of partner side of thing, we also have a newsletter. So who of you is interested to be updated, also from kind of the partner side, we have like a newsletter with 500 email contacts. So it's all our shareholders, but also interested people, and we just like share the developments, and then make kind of a like little story out of what happens here. It's more or less a monthly newsletter that goes through the email. So.
And where can they sign up for that, on your website or?
You can collect, for example, their email addresses that are interested, and I can put you in, or you can share them in the chat. Or is the chat gonna disappear once?
I don't know if it saves, but we can send a follow-up email to everybody who signed up.
Yeah.
And if there's a link for them to join the newsletter, we could do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, let's do that.
Great.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much. Really good to see you. I'll see you again tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Another cool stuff going on to happen for sure.
Thank you
Big
everyone for
thanks to
joining.
everyone. Thank you.